Occasionally in the suttas you hear of spirits and other worlds, etc. Was the Buddha simply speaking in words people of the time could understand, or is there real belief in supernatural and Buddhism? Well, it's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily call it supernatural, because it's technically all part of samsara, right? If it's part of samsara, it would be its nature. Samsara is the nature of the existence that we live in. So I mean, is this in the suttas, and did the Buddha teach this? Yeah. The Buddha taught that there's various beings, and he taught that, there's different levels of existence. There's various hell realms and heaven realms and human and animal realms and all these kind of things. But he also taught that there's many worlds, and there's the world systems, millions and billions of world systems. So he's talking about, the universes and beings on these, universes and all this kind of stuff. And it's quite interesting. If you follow astronomy and astrophysics and stuff like that, you might know of this thing called the multiverse, right? It's not something that they can physically prove now. It's not something that you can do testing on. But the greatest mathematical minds are doing the math, and they're saying, well, this is probably what it is, even though we can't prove it. So the multiverse is many, many universes, tons and tons of universes, all kinds of beings. Even in this universe, don't even worry about other universes. Imagine the different kinds of beings that could exist, right? So we just don't know. And what I find best in this kind of situation is just to kind of remain open-minded about it. Like when we practice metta, it's not like, may all only beings that I think are in existence have my happiness. It's all beings. So it doesn't matter what being, if they exist, if they don't exist. Even if they don't exist, if the possibility they might exist happens, well then I give them my loving friendliness or my limitless goodwill too. It doesn't, does it affect the practice in one way or another? Like, are we worried about like devas? And devas are what we call deities. These are beings that there's various levels. There's devas that live in trees, just kind of like elves and all these kind of things of ancient mythology. And there's devas that live in heaven realms and all these kind of things. And there's devas that supposedly protect people. So if you're ever walking along these paths at night and you feel scared or something like that, there might be a deva there that's trying to protect you from animals. Who knows? But so I mean, I can't say I can only talk about what the Buddha taught in the suttas, in the teachings, and he taught that it's part of right view that there are all kinds of different beings, and it's not that hard of a jump for me as somebody who loves astronomy and who can only imagine what kind of beings there exist in this universe, to think that, hey, who knows, there might be beings that we can't see. I don't know. Whether they exist or not doesn't really change my practice. But in a way, kind of, I think having an open mind about these things helps with your practice in general. Having an open mind is important, because in this practicing, you're questioning everything that you think is true. You're questioning even the idea that there's a permanent self. So if you don't have an open mind, as soon as you read, there's no permanent self, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not going to follow this practice, right? But if you have an open mind, you say, well, okay, I don't know, but I'll practice and see where it leads out. So. Now, one thing I will say is, though, in Theravada Buddhism, in the suttas, all of these beings are pretty much as screwed as we are. They're all in samsara. Even like the highest, like Brahma, like in Hinduism, right? Brahma is the God, is like the one God that everything came from. In Buddhism, he's part of samsara too. He's a being that all of us could have at one point been a Brahma, and we lived for eons or whatever, and then we passed on according to our karma, and now here we are as humans. So they're all, there's no, you can't pray to them. They're not going to do anything for you or anything like that. But then they're also in, they're in there as well, in samsara. So it's not like, like an eternal omniscient God or anything like that.